Welcome back to Terror Takeover, your one-stop shop for all things creepy, disgusting, and horrifying. I'm your host, Crow.
And I'm Shar.
And we are joined today with our first official guest. It's Jay Muller of Cali-deathcore band Reminitions. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, of course. I'm stoked.
I have my shirt on, and it's so sick.
Nice.
My favorite thing about this shirt is that the logo, oh my god, the logo is on the front and the back.
Ooh.
And it's massive, so I can just live in it, basically.
Hard.
Yeah, but we actually met not long ago. I guess that was how long ago was that now? A month or two?
A month? Yeah, a month or two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we played a show together. My band Capra played with Reminitions in Fresno at I think it was a festival, but I don't remember the name of it. It was super fun. I had a great time.
It was sounds heavy.
Sounds heavy. Okay, cool. Yeah, there was a ton of really cool bands on that. We were all super impressed by you guys. Amazing. I remember Trevor actually came over to the merch table because I was kind of working merch and popping in and out, and he was like, dude's vocals are insane. And I was like, yeah, he's definitely putting me to shame right now, but it was a really good time. And
you guys killed it too, no joke.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I was saying it's funny because you look like a really tough and really hard guy, but whenever I talked to you after, I wasn't expecting how nice you were and how open you were to conversating with me, basically. So I commend you in that. You're definitely softer than you look. I was kind of snooping around on y'all's Instagram, and I did see that you guys have a new music video coming out on the 14th. Do you want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah, for sure. So this one is probably the closest to how much I love horror that I could get to merge my band with it and it be completely from my brain. And the I think the most ironic thing is this is the cheapest we've ever done a music video, but it looks like we spent a lot of money on it. But it was just trying to, take into account the older days when horror movies were made. You didn't have a lot of money, some of my favorite ones are kind of no CGI, just someone who was just you know what, let's use blood, but let's do black and white so no one notices. And it could be just effects. Whatever consistency we want it to be, but it has to, but just little tricks here and there. So for this one, I used this bull mask, and this bull mask was given to me at a show that we played on Halloween, and it was just from one of our fans in the crowd. And during our encore song, he takes it off and he hands it to me, and I threw it on and I start doing the song. And the way the vocals kind of carried through the mask wasn't as good as I wanted it to, because my lows, when I kind of scream on they kind of flowed down, versus my highs kind of I tip my head up. So I had to do highs for the sound to kind of come out the nostrils of the bull mask. But you could hear it, and then if you layered the MP3 song over it, it just looked real cool. And so this music video is the first time that I can kind of introduce that mask that came out of nowhere and bring it into a story of a cult. Basically, the title, I wanted it to be something that would kind of shock people, just because I'm a very judgy person when it comes to song titles or artwork. If it pops out to me, if this title pops out to me, I'll check it out. If the artwork pops out to me, I'll check it out. If the people behind it have a really cool message, I'll check it out. So for this one, for the song, I named it Something's Killing the Children. Right. And it seems kind of crazy because you're just what the hell does that mean,
Yeah, literally, it's killing kids.
In horror movies, it's just the blood of the innocent has always been a reoccurring thing. And children to me are the most innocent of them all. So this is the ritual where there's no children being sacrificed in the music video, but that is what it's hinting at, that we're I'm rubbing blood on people that are wearing bed sheets on their heads, but we're making it look very ghostly, and so I'm really excited about it.
Damn, that sounds sick. Awesome. Yeah, I saw a video on your Instagram of you wearing the bull mask, and it is really sick. I will say it kind of reminds me a little bit. I don't know if you played the remake of Resident Evil 4 that just came out, I think last year. Well, they changed some of in the original Resident Evil 4, it was just these big strong dudes that had these almost wrestling looking belts on, and they had the axes and stuff. So in the new game, they remade it, and those guys are actually wearing bull masks now, and it's so much more terrifying, and it kind of has the same vibe. They look very similar. It was super cool.
That's hard.
That's what's up.
That's hard.
I've always wanted to try doing vocals with like a mask on, but I was like, I already know that would just be like a mess, so I just never bothered. But I do love a good mask.
Yeah, there's I think recently there's that movie Phone Booth, I think it's called, where the guy has like, he's a kidnapper and he kidnaps children, but he has
the black phone. Yeah.
Oh, there you go, the black phone.
Yeah,
there
I saw that not too long ago. Yeah,
he has
good.
like,
Creepy.
he has like 3 different masks, maybe.
Yeah,
but every
I
time
still
I
haven't
come out with
seen
that
it.
mask, I was like, I want them all. I want them
Yes.
all. Even though
they're
this
so
movie's kind of
unsettling.
like weird, but
Yeah, I hear good stuff.
no, you should watch it. Like it was definitely like a take that I wasn't really like expecting, and then the masks too, like just it gave me the idea of having a mask that at least came across like my nose and I could still like scream and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, half masks are really cool.
Yeah.
Obscuring the other part of
cool.
your face.
Yeah, I think Melanie Martinez randomly has like this whole alien thing that she's doing right now. And I was like really staring at it because I was like, is that hard to perform in? Like, you're just kind of like in this plastic for like lights beating on you, but you could kind of see that it I think it stops somewhere on her nose, and then it's just like makeup so she can still breathe.
I wonder if it's like also because thinking about it now, it's hard for me to like actually imagine it like perfectly in my head, but I also wonder if it is a mask situation. I mean, she's got probably enough money to be able to wire some sort of like little mic into the mask. I just don't know how that would work out.
Yeah, true that.
I just wonder how that would work without like it bumping against your face and just making like a boom, boom, boom like the entire time. But,
yeah, especially you're like touring and she was playing like when I saw her, she was playing multiple songs and she was in the outfit the whole time. So I was just like, dude, I commend her. That's freaking hard.
Yeah, hot too, like super hot.
Yeah, I tried to be super cool and wear like overalls like 3 or 4 shows ago. I was wearing like a sweater and overalls. It was just like I'm about to take down a mountain. But I was sweating like I thought I was gonna die.
I'm sweating just sitting here, like looking at you guys. So,
do you guys have any tour plans right now for the new release, or for anything you guys are doing?
So the biggest 2 things I think right now is we have this Titan Fest that we're playing in July. I think it's July 26th in Sacramento, and that's like a 3-day event, but we're just a part of day 1. So that one's going to be pretty major. I'm excited to be in the sun. I got my shorts picked out. Got my sunscreen, ready to go.
Skies out, thighs out. So.
Yep. And then we got Peeling Flesh that we're playing with September 6th in Fresno.
Nice.
And that's going to be ridiculous because we're deathcore and they're slam, but there's just these little influences that we kind of like share so where it makes sense. And then we have like a whole bunch of hardcore bands. And it's just like very strange, like it's not that hardcore bands like hate deathcore bands. They're just not going to go out of their way to like come see a deathcore band if they don't like that genre like that much. And for me, I'll go to like an R&B show and then you'll catch me at a Martinez show, so I dip everywhere, but there's people that I've seen at these hardcore shows that I've never seen in my life, and I play shows like all the time over here. So when I get a chance to like mix those genres and people aren't like, what the hell is this deathcore band doing on this lineup? I think it's like a win. I'm just like, I'm there. Like, I'm going to say hi to everybody. I'm going to, just like literally network as best as possible.
For sure.
You get to check out new artists and, get to expose other people to genres they maybe not have looked into before. So
absolutely. Yeah, I will say like hardcore people, and I say this like as a band that's like fringe hardcore because we're not like super textbook hardcore. Obviously, anybody that has ever heard it would know that, but we are often shopped with hardcore, so that's usually what we refer to ourselves as. A lot of them don't accept us and things like that, and even like within the actual genre, people are very judgmental of each other, which is unfortunate because it's also one of the most progressive, in my opinion, like genres or sub genres that is around. So it's a shame that there's so much like infighting, but I think that people could learn a lot if they could just open their brain like a tiny bit and bring themselves to actually experience other, I don't know how to describe it, but other I guess like extreme type of bands or like other heavier bands, and then also I think it just makes you a better musician to surround yourself with a variety of different types of inspiration. I'm like you. I love all kinds of music. Like I am like on a big Playboy Cardi kick right now. Like everybody's laughing at me for it. And Lil Uzi, I love all that stuff. But I also love like Loretta Lynn and like Patsy Cline and shit. Like I like all kinds of different stuff. And Shar too is super, super like you're super open-minded with like all the different things that you listen to as well. That's always been one of my favorite things about you.
Oh, thank you. I've been on a big EDM rager right now, so lots of like, I don't know, I guess like Dom Dalla and like, I'm trying to think who else listens to. Disclosure, Chopped Too Long. I don't know if you would call them EDM or not. I know that's like controversial for some people, but that's what I've listened to a lot lately. Summer, I'm just like, all right, let's get into the oons vibes, you know?
Yeah, just feel good vibes.
Yeah, and I've been trying to dip my toe more into metal artists. Obviously, I support Capra a hard time, but I'm trying to explore other people who are really great in the scene as well. So, but also, I guess speaking of, as someone who's kind of like new to all of this, how would you, Jay, of course, how would you like define deathcore as a genre, and what kind of made you want to go for that sound for your band?
Man,
tough stuff, I know.
Yeah,
homework.
I started out with just like rap, and I would get like goosebumps when I would hear like Linkin Park when he would scream, and I was just like,
yeah,
that's something right there, you know, that's something special. How does he do that, you know? And
he's kind of spitting
I remember
right now.
like screaming with my mom, like I was in the passenger seat and she's like the driver, and I'm just like, Mom, I'm gonna scream right now. I'm gonna show you what I've been listening to. And like now thinking about it, I think it's hilarious, and I love my mom right now, like screaming with her next to me. So the encouragement was totally there for me to just do like whatever. And at that time, it was more like metalcore in the beginning, but I just kept like searching for like heavier stuff, and it just kind of grew to a point where it's like right under technical deathcore, where it's just like too much for my brain. I sit like right there. Like I respect it. Like I'm totally, I will be front row, and I will like totally like, you know, watch bands that are so intricate with it and so genty, but my heart lies right there in like metalcore, deathcore, gutturals, blast beats. I think I like intricate breakdowns too. Like sometimes if they're just easy and sludgy, you can throw like crazy vocal patterns on it. And then when you have something sent to you that's just like, and you're just like, you expect me to put words on that?
Yeah. Like I have lungs in my body.
Yeah, I'm just gonna guttural through that part for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Like, it's definitely like if another genre speak to me, like if blues was literally giving me goosebumps, I'd be listening to blues nonstop. I'd be preaching blues day in day out. But it's just something about breakdowns, specifically the really cool one-liners, like right before it hits. Like it's just it gets me, especially because there's like so much already out there. For someone to bring something new to the table is always like really fresh. You know? It's kind of like, dude, like how did you pull that out of your ass? Like that, how has that not been said before? You know?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's the way that you explain that is funny, because it's like, yeah, people are always like, it's always thinking about like the tone of your vocals or like the lyrics of the vocals, but people don't realize like it's just as much work to like try to figure out like a rhythm of how to deliver. And that was something that I struggled with for a long time, was like, should I just like fit every word possible that I can into this line? Should I just take my time with it? Like what's going to be the most effective? And sometimes it's like, it'll be like a year after I wrote the song and I'm like, I'm still not sure if I did that the way I wanted to. But after a certain point, you kind of just have to accept and just let it be what it is, because you can't just work on it forever. Yeah.
I'm my hardest critic too. Like I can write pages and pages of stuff, and other people could look at those pages and be like, this is gold, dude. Like this is it. But to me, I'm like, I can do better.
Nah.
Yeah. You think that's good?
Watch.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's so funny.
But it's its own, like, I think I kind of feel like I had to be like going through almost so much rap to be able to throw the patterns that I do these days, because I kind of almost think of it as if I'm gonna like rap it, and I'm like, I'm gonna rap it, but I'm gonna scream it instead. And it's kind of like these influences that because you're open-minded, you can kind of throw down some different stuff. Like in this last EP, I was like whisper singing, you know, and then like I didn't always used to whisper, but I started to like I literally took like the movie Saw, And then just like you talk like this, like as if you were leaving a message to someone. And I was like, that would sound cool in the beginning of the song, you know? And so then I've done that for Unholy, which is done like really well. And then I recently did it again, but I did it more of like as if someone was like narrating a story before the movie like actually started. And so I'm like kind of painting the picture before the song hits. The beginning of the song is always so freaking hard for me because I'm like, how the hell do I start this off? Like, do I just start at the beginning of the story, or do I like hit them with the end and then explain how I got there? You know?
Oh shit! Yeah,
it's so much that it's like I overthink it. But
for sure.
If it ends up becoming like a cool music video, I'm like, I basically like wrote that. Like I'm the guy.
Hell yeah, that's sick. Absolutely. I think that you guys definitely, I mean, you should be proud of what you've created, and not only you, your bandmates as well, but you really should be proud of the part that you played in that, because you guys are doing really cool things. And I'm just super stoked to see you guys continue to grow and continue to expled. So
thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys too. Like literally it was a trip to kind of like, I had no idea we were going to play together. And I posted you guys on my Instagram, and automatically, like I can post music all the time, I can post music videos all the time, but for people to like share it and engage and say stuff like without me like paying for it, just organically, that is like impressive. And like you guys did that like on your own. Like the what's the LCY?
Yeah.
So those music videos are kind of like a vibe right now, just the whole black and white, you know. So you guys kind of fell into this like this little area where people were watching these black and white videos, but you guys definitely like stood out. You guys brought some different moves, some different sounds, some different riffs, and then to hear them in person, I was just like, this is sick. This energy, like they're loving it. Like they've been on the road and they're killing it, like as if this is day one, and that's super important.
Well,
that's
we can always tell when the vibes are good. Well, it's like you can tell when you walk into somewhere, like, well, maybe not right away, but like after you've like kind of been just chilling for like an hour, you can tell if the vibes are good or not, you know? And I feel like it was like immediately to me, I was like, oh, like people here are here to have a good time, or here to support each other and enjoy what's going on. And like we all sensed that. So I was super, super stoked by I had so much fun. That was like, I would say that was probably my if not my favorite, definitely one of my favorites from that tour, like top 3.
Hell yeah.
Easily.
You guys have to come back for sure now.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so awesome how the community is so warm and accepting. Like, even though you guys are all like rocking super hard and like super scary, intense looks, everyone's really just like you said, super sweet, super caring, and like you meet really good, down to earth people. That's what it's all about.
No joke.
Absolutely.
No joke. That's how it was like the whole day too. Like every band was different, but we were all vibing.
Is there anything you want to plug or add before we move on, Jay?
Listen to Capra and Reminitions day in and day out. Add us to your playlist together. 14th is when we're dropping that music video on BVTV. And then I'm also paying like all these like funny influencers to kind of like help kind of push that. I got this referee breakdown dude who like wears a referee suit, and he throws flags when breakdowns are like hit.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hell yeah.
I haven't seen this guy before. I'm going to pay him.
That's clever.
I love it. That's sick. Yeah, I hope that works out. I noticed that you guys have like, you can pre-save the release and everything, so I already went and did that. So and the link in their Instagram bio, you can pre-save on like Spotify, YouTube Music, YouTube, all kind of other stuff that I didn't even know existed. So go ahead and make sure that you guys do that.
I don't even know what Deezer is, but Deezer is a thing. It says it on there.
Yes. There's so many more like music streaming platforms now. I'm like,
are y'all really using all this shit?
We're on
sure.
Frostwire,
BMP3.
My age is showing.
Oh my god, same. So I asked you about some of your favorite horror movies before we did this, just so that I could get like an idea for your horror profile. But anyway, you were telling me that you like some of your favorites are Ginger Snaps, Hereditary, Sixth Sense, Interview with the Vampire, Lost Boys, American Werewolf in London. You have a lot of like classics on there. I thought that was super cool. I did notice that you like a lot of vampire and like werewolf movies. Are you a big like creature feature guy?
Yeah. I'm kind of like, I'm super into like how they become vampires, and it's like super cheesy, or you know, like the transformations too, like when they become werewolves. Like I'm a big. I think literally American Werewolf in London is like the coolest transformation.
Yeah, I
That
agree.
one was kind of like wow. And then me and my mom were talking about the Howling, and there's that part where there's like the little girl or the woman werewolf, and they're like, "Oh my god, she's so cute." I just remember being like, that totally took away from like how crazy this was, you know. I also like I forget what it's called, but like the Blair Witch, like how this recorded, like
Found
camcorder.
footage.
Lost footage. There we go.
Yeah.
I love those. Those.
I love them
even
too.
though I'm like, this isn't real. I'm like, this creeps me out. This is so close to real.
Yeah.
It feels real.
I'm very like partial to them because I feel like I'm 28 and I feel like around the time that I was like in junior high and high school, that's kind of like when a bunch of like random found footage movies like blew up. Obviously Blair Witch is prior to that, but it was like Cloverfield had come out and then Quarantine, which is obviously a remake of REC. Just a bunch of movies like that all around the same time. That which at the time I hated them actually, which is really funny. But now old that I can look back and appreciate them for what they are. It's one of my favorite horror genres. Blair Witch is definitely one of our favorites. And actually, we were talking about low budget horror earlier. Blair Witch Project is like one of the one of the highest grossing horror movies of all time because their budget was so low and the
it was like nothing.
Right, and the marketing was done so successfully as well.
Yeah.
Being that it was one of the
totally
first ones. Yeah, being that it was one of the first found footage horror movies, people didn't really know what to expect, and they kind of advertised it like it was real, like a real documentary, and that like blew people's minds, which I think is amazing and really cool.
I will say I haven't seen all the movies in your list, but I did see Hereditary. A big fan of A24 and Ari Aster in general, so love that you also like him. So what was like your first horror movie, like the first one that you saw that you remember that like really had an impact on you?
Oh man. I think like about the time where like everyone should be watching Disney movies with their families, my mom was showing me like The Exorcist and just things that I just didn't even think were like possible, you know, like. And then my mom wasn't really like the type to like it has cussing or has like sex scenes, you can't watch it. Like she just kind of like she's just like, I vibe with this. Maybe you vibe with this, and it left me with nightmares for sure. But it created me. It kind of shot me into this realm where I was just like, okay, like I'm not a bad kid, but like I like the dark side of stuff, and it's hard to like tell people that when you're growing up, you're just like, I like monsters, and I like you know movies where there's like blood and that there's like. And people are like, you need help. You're
a sadist.
You're a psychiatrist, and I'm like, no, I just like. I don't like the normal. Like you can be very like cookie cutter normal, or you can be like exactly what you like. You know, I'm like wearing tattoos of things I like. I'm wearing bands that I like. It's all me. You know, so that was one of those things where I'm so happy my mom didn't really like shut me away from like all that cool stuff. I've lost a lot of sleep over it.
Same.
This has created a whole thing in my band. This has created like I'm wearing a 13 Ghosts t-shirt for my band. You know, my mom showed me that movie. So she's kind of made my band money by just making me.
That's amazing. Okay, yeah. I want to hang out with your mom. She sounds
I know. We need to find out her favorite horror movies.
Right.
I know. I was literally telling her I was going to be on this, and she just was just like telling me like, why didn't you say this movie, or why didn't you say this movie? And I was like, you know what, how about when they like FaceTime me to do the interview, it's just going to be you instead. I'll just be like, hey guys, sorry, I know you guys wanted me, but this is the source.
She's the real one. My parents were the same way. My parents never really like, they were particular about certain things. I grew up like in a Southern household and my mom's Filipino. So it was always like, you can't be watching like satanic shit or whatever. Like we can't be doing that in the house. But it was basically everything else, like for the most part was like fine, depending on like strong language, whatever, things like that. But also I'm sure you remember like they used to have the like, you could block channels and with like a code on your TV. And my like mom didn't know that I knew the code. So every time they would leave for work and it was just me and my brother at home, which me and my brother are like basically the same person, I would just do the little code. And I remember watching the first movie that I like watched secretly was I think it was Child's Play. And I remember just being like, what is going on? I don't think it was my first horror movie, but it was the first one that I watched like in the dark in my parents' room with the door like closed, waiting for them to come home, waiting to hear the car in the driveway. So yeah, that was definitely like, that was a foundational one for me. It's a different vibe too when
you know you're not supposed to be watching it.
Oh, it's so much scarier.
Yeah, horror. You're like, they're gonna walk in
looking for mom over one shoulder, looking for Chucky over the other one. Yeah.
Yes.
You're probably just sitting there like, why are they hiding this from me? This is great.
It's amazing. This is the
whole vibe.
Yeah, my mom's always been way into horror though. Char, whenever she comes to stay with me, well, my mom's about to move out. It's so sad, but she was here one night and she wanted Char to watch a movie with her. And I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, but my mom puts on the movie Inside. It's like a French like extreme horror film. And
it really is.
Every time I would look over, it would just be like ripping flesh, and I'd be like, "Mom, what the fuck are you getting Charlotte to watch right now?"
People are getting their eyeballs like completely.
My mom watches
in,
crazy
like,
shit. Yeah,
lots of shit. I was terrified.
She feels nothing the whole time.
No,
she's just sitting there like
the whole time intently, like it's tennis or something. Like, oh, this is so cool. I'm like, dude, I'm about to throw up.
My mom laughs when people would like scream or like run from a movie. My mom just laughs. It's just nuts.
Yeah, just like, what a goofy run. Like, why is she running like that? Like,
because she's scared of her mind. But, you know, maybe we can't all relate. So you weren't like...
recently I watched one that was like in Portuguese, and I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to watch this horror movie in Portuguese. So I'm just like reading the subtitles like the whole time, and I really want to like watch the damn thing. But
that's true.
This was like, it's just like from when you watch movies from another country, sometimes it's like not what I would say like Americans would think of. It's kind of like a different mind, kind of like the Guillermo del Toro kind of vibe, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, me and Charlotte, we have a favorite called The Medium. It's a Thai horror film. If you haven't seen that one, we like super highly recommend it. We like have gabbed about it so much on this podcast, but oh my God, my Christmas pajama pants don't look. But it's basically like a possession horror film, but it's done so much better than the vast majority of like American possession. Right. It's like more of like, it's definitely got like the Thai cultural vibe. It's like very rural, which I think adds like such a like scarier spin on it. And then you're viewing it from the lens of like somebody who hasn't seen The Exorcist probably like 500 times, you know? I mean, it is a good movie, but it's totally its own. It's very original, the plot.
Yeah, I think it's super unique. Yeah. Plus, I feel like other cultures, I don't know, like there's just such a commodification, I guess, of horror. Like obviously it is like a genre, something scary here. While in other cultures, it's almost like kind of real to some extent. Like there are dark spirits, evil mentalities. Like it's very much more intense for them. So they can really translate that into movies, and you're just like, whoa,
that makes sense.
Was a lot.
Yes. You're so right. Absolutely. That's something, like at this point, like I think that we spend a lot of time in front of like screens and in areas surrounded by like a ton of other people that we forget that there are people that still like live on farms in the middle of nowhere, and that they're just like in the dark all the time. There's no street lights, things like that. It's like, wow.
Terrifying.
Even my mom, growing up in the Philippines, has like 1,000,001 like ghost stories, and like there's something in the Philippines called the aswang, which is essentially the Filipino vampire, and she's like got all kinds of like stories about coming across those, which may or may not have actually just been like creepy people with like issues or whatever, but like but it's still interesting to hear the stories. So okay, next question. What is, off the top of your head, the scariest horror movie you've ever seen?
Okay, so visually there's not a lot that like scares me. Like I don't really like, I haven't seen a movie in a while that like I look away, or I'm like, I remember being younger and
peeking through the lip.
But there was a time where I was just like, all right, like nothing can really scare me, and I saw Paranormal Activity in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a different kind of like scary. It was like the sounds too of being in the theater. There was just like this very like small rumbling that would start slow, and then it would just like and then I could hear it in the railing, and I'm like, something's going down. Fuck. I could feel it in my bones, and then like the chairs would fly, you know, and you're just like, all right, like shit, all hell's about to break loose. So I think the first Paranormal Activity was like the first time in a long time that my body was like, it felt disturbed. Like I could go home.
Absolutely.
And this is actually something that could happen. Like
you felt unsafe.
This isn't something I can just dismiss and be like, oh, like that's happening in a different country, or that's like makes no sense for me to run into like a killer like that, you know, but
Right.
that was different.
Yeah.
Well, the scary thing about that is like against a killer you could fight, you know? Like what are you supposed to do against like
Yeah.
a ghost
Spirits.
attempting to possess you? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No joke.
Evil
No
spirits.
joke.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Save
I
the house,
totally
maybe.
agree. Right, exactly. I remember distinctly the drive back from the movie theater, like after I saw that movie. I remember I was like because the whole time when I was watching, I was always like the kid in my group that like didn't get afraid of anything, but I just really didn't show it because I liked having like seeming like the brave one. So
Oh, yeah.
I would never like I'd try not to cover my eyes in the theater. I'd like try to force myself to watch the whole thing just to seem tough. And on the way back, I just remember like just like being like this, and I couldn't even like lean against like the like chair or against like the sides of the car. Like I was just like just
sitting
terrified.
upright,
I would just be choked by a
bracing.
ghost. Exactly, at any time. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah,
That
definitely
was me
a
after
scary
watching
one.
Us. I feel like it wasn't. I wasn't even that. It's not even that scary of a movie, but there was just so much red afterwards. I swear to God, I saw a guy in a red shirt walking by, and I literally jumped like a mile. I was
Nope.
like, "What the hell is happening? Fuck no, you're not gonna get me." Literally.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's
It's
kind of
weird
like
the movies
that.
that stick with you.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have yet to feel that way again. I've definitely seen some really good like plot twists in like horror movies,
Yeah.
but none that have like made me go home and just be like, I'm gonna watch some cartoons before I go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We were saying that too, though. That horror. I don't know. Maybe we're desensitized to it from watching so much in
Absolutely.
a while that like
Yeah.
it takes a lot for a movie to really like send you over the edge and make you feel unsettled at this point. But
What about you,
Who
Shar?
knows?
What do you think is the scariest one you've seen?
but I've see it's
Or
weird
at least
because
recently.
like yeah, I would say recently because the scariest movie for me is not even like scary. It was like I'm just terrified of aliens for some reason. So like I cannot do alien movies. Still terrified of the fourth kind. Still
Yeah.
do not like all the Predator movies. Like I just cannot.
That one was different.
It's
Yeah.
That had
creepy,
me
yeah.
fucked up. I still don't like owls to this day. I'm just
The
like,
owl,
no,
yeah, that whole aspect was
it's just too
crazy.
much. Yeah. So that's like scary. But scariest I've seen recently, and we talked about this before. I know you're gonna be like, it's not that bad, but I had never seen. Gosh, what was it called that we just saw recently in theaters? Me and you. And why am I like blanking the name now? It's like part of a really long series, and had like the mom.
Oh,
and the
Evil
daughters.
Dead.
Yes, thank you. So I don't want to think about it. Evil Dead was a lot for me. I don't mind gore, honestly, but I guess when it's just like anything has to do with like scalps, first of all, is a lot for me. Like, that's not to spoil anything, but like anyone losing their scalp always has me kind of like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
And then just like it just never stopped. I felt like it was just constant.
Yeah.
Like things just kept happening. I never had a second to take a breath and come down. So anything like that kind of has me like, well, it's really
For
insane.
sure.
So
Yeah.
that's probably one of the scariest ones for me, honestly.
For sure,
But like you, I
yeah.
haven't really had a movie I've seen that had me like that way I couldn't go home and kind of like shake it off, other than
Yeah.
maybe Evil Dead.
Yeah.
I
will
like the
say like
angles in that movie. That the angles were like
Yeah.
really
Evil Dead.
the whole. I think it was the door.
Yeah,
the
the
doorbell
people.
Yes, the
kinda-
door.
the people.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, that was
That was
super
a different
creepy.
kind of angle. And then where they just kind of like kept it just there, and you just see her walking.
Yeah.
I was just like,
Yes. Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was nice. I
Yeah.
explained to people too that like haven't even seen the first one, where they try to take that movie so seriously. It was always kind of like joke horror, like
Oh
almost like it was
yeah,
almost
it's camp.
funny.
It's camp for sure.
And yeah, people are just like, man, that wasn't even scary. It was stupid.
Yeah.
But also like yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people define scary in like different ways. I think some people assume scary is like, oh, it's going to ruin your life for like a week, but it's like scary doesn't have to be
Yeah.
the same thing that it was when we were kids.
Right.
I will say
For
when I was a
sure.
kid, the movie that scarred me the most was The Grudge, because for some reason like so throughout the movie
Yeah.
there are little like, I'm not going to call them Easter eggs, but there are little blips where Kayako, it's Kayako, right? And Sadako is the one in the ring. But anyway, Kayako is like just hiding in random corners, and you can see her if you're paying attention, but you don't if you're not. So if you go back and watch the movie, like you can see all kinds of new things that you just never noticed, like her standing in a
What?
window or her in a corner. And so
Ooh.
throughout my
hard.
childhood, like literally
Yeah,
for
those
like
always scare me.
years, I was convinced I could see her like hiding in my closet or behind a door or something, and I just didn't get over it literally for like 2
Yes.
years. It was bad. But
real.
yeah, now obviously as an adult, there's nothing that sticks with me like that. But I will say, it's usually concepts, like you were saying, visually.
Yes,
There's not a
yeah.
lot that
Oh.
like upsets me anymore. But conceptually there is a lot that will like stick with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why The Medium was so upsetting. That part, that like scene, I'm not going to give it away because I want you to watch it, but that scene where they're like showing the security camera footage from like her work like really fucked me up. I hate it, and I think about it frequently. So
yeah. Dude, I feel you.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I make those into t-shirts. That's it, when they bother me that
little
much.
horrifying parts. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Like I
do that for Smile.
We've been doing like Mortal Kombat. Well, not recently, but we had done some Mortal Kombat designs like in the past, just because it has like the fatality aspect, and like it kind of hits like the retro gamers too, that used to play that like nonstop.
Yeah.
So we started with like Sub-Zero. I think Sub-Zero was like freezing our logo. And then we came out with the Scorpion one where he's killing Sub-Zero. So he's like holding Sub-Zero's head in his hands. And then our name is like in fire. And then
sick.
A lead up was Melina. And I wanted to use her just because we hadn't used a girl yet. And she just has that ugly grin. And so I legit took the Evil Dead scene where I think it's where she hops on the cop and she bites his eyeball off, and then she looks up and the camera angles is from looking up down, and so she kind of rips it off and she just looks up and it's just like right there, and I was just like, oh my God, that angle is so hard. And so I have I was like, I want Melina basically like that. So I like waited for there to, because it was like right after the movie hit, so I waited for like little scenes to kind of sneak into YouTube, and I screenshotted that part. And so then I had to think, like, what person would she be doing that to? And a Mortal Kombat movie had, like, came out maybe, like, 2 or 3 years ago. Maybe longer, but Kano was, like, my favorite. So I was like, you know what? Let me have her
the best anti-hero. Or
only
not
eye.
anti-hero, but...
yeah. So I was like, let's have her rip out the only eye.
The other one,
yeah, fuck it.
I love Kano, and I hate that I love him.
Can do that.
Yeah, that's totally sick. I love that. Is there any new horror or anything that's coming out that you're looking forward to?
I want to see Tarot. I see it on my TV. I can rent it for like $10, but it's called like Tarot, I think.
Oh, I've heard somebody talking about it. Literally today.
It looks like tarot cards, but like there's special tarot cards and they kind of come to life or something like that. That one kind of intrigues me.
I've heard that one.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. Remember that movie that came out with the hand, and you like hold the hand.
Talk to me, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. I love that movie.
Oh.
Yeah,
it's like a, as if it's like, obviously it's real life, but like as if you're just like you're partying with your friends. It's just like an everyday get together, and you're just like, let's play this new game, and then it turns into like the worst night of your life. Those are my
it's like the new Ouija boards now. People don't do those anymore, so now it's like tarot cards or creepy hands. You know? Absolutely. Let's just go get scared with our friends.
We're still finding ways to like turn horror movies into things that I just can't even fathom. I'm just like, how did you think of that?
Absolutely, yeah. We're looking forward to Stop Motion came out. Char was talking about that one. We almost watched it last night, but we got home late and I was drunk, unfortunately. But also I really want to watch and it's coming out, I think it came out already, I believe, but it's coming out soon on Shudder, In a Violent Nature. Have you been seeing anything about that one? It's basically Friday the 13th, but from the killer's perspective. So it's like this evil, like basically, I guess, reanimated corpse type situation gets basically summoned by a group of unsuspecting teenagers. And it's showing him like killing them from his point of view. Yeah. And it looks pretty cool. A lot of people are excited about it. So
speaking of good angles, there's tons of great, even in the trailer, you just like see just eye holes walking around, like tearing going after people.
And just from the back of his head, like I love that they show the back of his head because it just looks so scary. But
it's like third person point of view, honestly. It's kind of
pretty hard.
Not third, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Also, I like that it seems like they're not going to just like have a bunch of music in it. Like it's just atmospheric, and you can just like hear the like teenagers or college kids or whatever just being like, "Who are you? No," like yelling and all that shit. Yeah, it's crazy. It looks really cool.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's one thing I like more about modern horrors now. They tend to lean a lot more towards like being thrillers and being more of like an atmospheric vibe type thing rather than, I mean, I do still love a good classic horror score and like the lighting and everything, but it's also, like you said, when it's like a real situation that's just kind of twisted, that's really terrifying. And that kind of makes better.
I totally agree. Yeah, something that's a little bit more relatable.
100%.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been leaning towards a lot of thrillers like lately versus horror.
For sure.
That's where I am for sure. Because a lot of those stick with you for real. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't really that scary, but I saw one called Delirium that was just so bleak. I was just miserable for days afterwards. Because it was just like these people like in a town where there was no one but the two
Wait,
of them.
Vivarium, right? Isn't it Vivarium?
Yes, Vivarium. Yes, it had to raise like a baby, and it was just
wanna
the horrors
watch
of
that
modern
one.
life in one very small setting, actually.
Awful.
But just to
Yeah.
say, ouch.
Yeah.
I think there's
Sorry, my cat bit me.
what's it called? It's called Others. It's like a show, and it's like a town where somehow people travel to it and they try to leave, but then they keep going around in circles, and they're just like we just left, and the town people are like super like not trying to be helpful or anything like that. They're just like not. They're just like you're stuck now. Like you're gonna figure it out once you go around like the 6th time that you're not leaving.
Yeah.
And then they have to like weave their way into what they've already kind of built.
Into the community, yeah.
But
That sucks.
that was like season 1, but that kind of reminds me of it.
Yeah,
Oh,
anything
I'm
like
gonna
that's
look
kind of
into
like a vibe where you just can't leave and no one wants to help you. That's like that happens to me in real life all the time. So that is just the fucking worst. I swear to God, I've been lost with no help too many times. Honestly,
That was us in the
Yeah.
Chinese restaurant last night.
No, literally. Oh my God.
We
Yeah.
were waiting for our server for like 30 minutes and we were both just too shy to say anything. So we're like, fuck, we gotta get out of
Like,
here.
we'll just run out. No.
I went to San Jose recently, and they have it's like J-pot, I think it's called. It's like the hot plate or hot bowl of like it's like ramen, but then you can also like
hot pot?
it's a Korean barbecue. You can like they bring you like the raw meat and you cook on your own. And so I'm thinking like I could do this like easy. Like I don't cook meat often, but like what's so hard about they bring you a plate of meat, you put it on there, is good. So I walk in there and it's like popping, but everything is almost like in Korean. Like I can't even read what the things are, or even like know what they are.
Yeah.
And I'm way too shy to just like literally walk up to a waiter and be like, hey, I'm literally like of knowing how to maneuver this place, I'm at a -1 right now. I'm down.
Yeah.
So I just decided, you know what? I'm gonna freeball this. I'm gonna follow this little line of people next to this little like bar that they have, and I'm just gonna start scooping what they're scooping on my plate. I'm just gonna
Various
kind of
entrails.
yeah, and hopefully they don't see me peeking over their shoulder. And I don't even know what they're gonna eat, so I'm like, I'm hoping what they're gonna eat is what I'm gonna eat, because I'm gonna put whatever I think is on my plate on my meat.
Yeah.
And so I sit there at the booth by myself. I don't even know how to turn the damn thing on. I'm just so lost. So I sit there and I'm like, I'm literally gonna pull out my phone. I'm gonna hide it right here, and I'm gonna put Korean barbecue for beginners, and I'm gonna figure this shit out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm like
Absolutely.
watching these dudes like review it, and I'm just like, okay, this isn't helping. I need help. I'm drowning here. And so the chick finally comes and she like taps on the screen, and she's like, you could have ordered like 15 minutes ago. You just have to like tap this screen, choose what you want. I was like, I've been waiting here thinking you guys are gonna come find me.
Oh my God! Oh,
but it was gone. It was good. It was good.
Well, I'm happy that you figured it out. We went to Korean barbecue one time together, and like I was like, I'm gonna try everything, and so I got like a bunch of different kinds of like intestines and like organ pieces. This is back when I was still eating meat, and so now I no longer eat meat, and this is part of it. And so I just like felt so like I just felt it in my body after. Like I was like, I will never be the same after all of the things that I consumed today. So yeah, and then I became a vegetarian. So yeah, it was crazy. They have some crazy, I mean, you know, more power to everybody, but it was like some wild choices. So
yeah, no, I feel it. I feel it.
You kind of talked about this a little bit earlier when we were talking about music, but how would you say that horror has influenced like your music writing and your life? This was actually a question Charlotte had, and wrote it down for us to ask.
It has definitely helped me set my band apart from like other bands, for sure. There's makeup artists right now that I'm like very intrigued about that are doing like some really cool horror stuff. It's like I think her name is like MC Custom Arts or something like that.
Okay.
But she designed the mask for Corey for Slipknot, his new mask.
Right.
And she's been adding this like horror characters that she's created. She's making them into real life, and then I've seen some of them squeeze into music videos for like Of Sulfur and like some other deathcore bands. And so it really kind of made me feel like I can mix a horror movie with my music. So a lot of the music, probably this last EP that we dropped, we have one called Chamber of Flesh, and that one is the one that I was kind of telling you guys about when I kind of paint the picture before the song kicks in. But it was my idea of this, like, almost like a myth in the mountains who kills hitchhikers that come, and he skins them alive, and then he hangs their skin like a wall flag in his cave. Just like I hang my flags in my room, he has his own little
skin posters.
Yeah, so this is like, we call it the Chamber of Flesh. Is so then
sick.
It's just like me talking as a narrator, and then once the song kicks in, it's from the point of view of the killer himself, and he's talking about like how he loves the screams, like it's like a melody to him, like the screams of humans is just like something he loves to hear, and he can taste the blood on his lips, and he's just like chopping, so that was like kind of me going wild on that. And then I have one about like a witch who kind of like prophesizes her death like years in advance, and she's kind of like already laid out the plans to like curse the town before the town comes to kill her, and she's basically like cursing them as she's like put into this guillotine, and the guillotine comes down, and her head rolls, and then she's still chanting this spell like with like as a
hell
just the
yeah
head. And so I was like, I could see it in my head, and I was like, I need to put this into words, so those are kind of like random things that I've kind of like mixed into my band, and it's worked a lot, like obviously
That's
for
awesome.
like t-shirt designs and stuff.
Absolutely. That's sick. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Ooh, last question, unless Shar had another one, but if you had to think of one horror movie that best describes you as like a human being and everything that you've done, what would that horror movie be?
Man, it's a powerful question.
Shar, is there anything else you want to add first while Jay thinks about it, maybe?
No, I was just saying that what you said is really awesome. That I can definitely see, because I listened to a little bit of your music before the pod. I can see the horror influences, and it really is cool to have that perspective of just like going to a different level, incorporating like actual stories and like these really creepy situations into your work. It's pretty awesome. I think it's really cool. Yeah, it's a really sick verse. So definitely a good vibe.
Yeah, thank you.
I need more.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to order some.
So I would say too, I think the movie that best describes, I think me. Well, I mean, I'm not a serial killer, but I think American Psycho.
Okay.
American Psycho is kind of one of those ones where it's like, I feel like in the beginning, he's like killing at nighttime, but then it kind of starts like spilling into like the morning and then and every day. So that's just, I feel like that's me with like everything. Like I get obsessed with stuff to where it's like, it's a little bit and then it just becomes like infinite.
Everything.
Yeah. Then I'm like consumed, and then it's like, it's hard to, but the cool thing is like, at least I'm addicted to cool stuff, so.
Hey, hell yeah. You could be into, I don't know, something lame, so. I don't know. I don't want to say anything and then somebody be like, wait, I'm into that. Yeah. Oh my God. It could be like Fortnite. No, we play Fortnite like every day, so.
Yeah, so it's okay.
It's an addiction.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
This was like super fun. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day. We will definitely keep up with everything that you guys are doing. If you guys want to follow Reminitions, which you should want to follow Reminitions, the link in their bio, you're able to pre-save their upcoming release, and that's probably one of the best ways to stay notified, unless there's anything else that you suggest, but also following on Instagram, things like that, and YouTube as well.
Yes. Breakdown King is like my breakdown channel, so I post like not just breakdowns, but I post like all kinds of new music. So that's probably like where you'll see me spamming the most of like all the new stuff. And
you post a lot of funny stuff on there too. So
yeah, too. It's definitely the community. It's the hub.
It's
absolutely
crazy. It's honestly crazy. But thank you guys seriously so much. This is like super fun. I haven't done an interview that's like talked about like horror, and that's like a major thing in my life. So thank you guys for
hey, come back sometime and we'll do some more. So
yeah, 100%. I'm gonna watch all those movies too. So when we do part 2, I can give you guys my feedback on this.
Hey,
totally, that'd be
Medium.
It's Medium, and then you guys had.
We talked about it so much.
The one that's gonna come out.
You watch Evil Dead. In a Violent Nature.
In a Violent Nature, yeah.
That one too, right?
I can message those to you as well.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm gonna send you
And what
guys
else?
the link to that new music video, so you guys get like a little sneak peek
Yeah,
for everybody
yes,
else.
please.
Yes.
Oh,
Dude,
that'd be so
absolutely.
sick.
Yes, look, we're
Oh,
about it. And look, if you guys are really, trying to do these horror type shoots, we would love to check it out and watch the magic, see behind the screen. So let us know. Send a
Yeah,
friend.
100%.
absolutely. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll let you go so we're not keeping you all evening. Thanks again. And we'll reach out to you again in the future if you'd be interested in coming back. So,
1000%.
Yeah.
Thank you
okay.
guys.
Bye, Jay. Have a good
Bye.
Later, later,
one.
later.